Welcome. Welcome. I am Kees Helms, a retired occupational physician and a retired psychiatrist. Welcome here in Urk for the book presentation of the legacy of the foundation ICOMH and IFOH. I give you this total name later, but I heard André. There was some difficulty, but I will correct that. Welcome to our host at the Trefpunt, leading by Mart van Lieburg and his team on the name Medical History of the Netherlands. Welcome also for the people in contact with our Zoom in the various countries, the name England, Norway, Sweden, and the Netherlands. A particular welcome to my old friend and godfather of my youngest daughter, Frauke, Jaap Douglas, and his partner Ankie Douglas and their son Dirk. Jaap was the co-founder of this foundation in 1966. Also a warm welcome to Mary Manolias, the last official board member of ICOMH, IFOH. She made a long trip from London yesterday, about 12 hours, and arrived at the end in my house in Apeldoorn. And she had a good sleep this night, I hope. Thank you. Welcome Mabius Bronsma, a president of the board of IFO, who is working also for Rabobank as a psychologist. And also I have to look after Mrs. Sylvia Meeuwissen as representing the director of the Rabobank, Mr. Abe Boersma. The Rabobank made it possible to use the leftover Rabo funds, which Mabius made as he was president of the IFOH, for his conference in 1983 in Oosterwijk. We used that money, what was left over, for this special event. A welcome to ICOMH members and IFOH members present here on the remotely via the Zoom. Also, welcome to some family and acquaintances from the writers of the book. And also the various representatives, not here but maybe by Zoom, from the NVAB, the NVVG, BANO, and the representatives of the NSBO, SGBO. Maar goed, that is special language for people who have worked or studied arbeidsgeneeskunde well, no, not psychiatry, it's all in the field of people who do assurance geneeskunde and arbeidsgeneeskunde. So, but not at least a special welcome to our writers. Only one is here, but they were André Weel and the co-writer at home with sadness about sickness, Gerda Jekel. Gerda Jekel, zeg ik het goed? Prima. Who has been president in keeping, met name André, who has been persistent in keeping the train running at all times. So, I want to say the next point of my paper. Here, from this moment, I will ask Caroline, was it this moment? Yes, to give the three special guests something from the Netherlands. That makes it a little bit secret, but she comes. Because we are very pleased that they have come with their high age, old Mabius, for you, for your work as a president, and also special for the Rabobank. And special, huh? Yes.
Bedankt. Bedankt, hè.
later on you can say something, but I go further with the train. The train has to be running. A last present on that side. Oh, Mary loves so. Okay.
It's so lovely, but I don't think I'll be able to take it out.
Well, we find something for you. After this welcome, I give the floor to André Weel, who will take you through the whole process of the heritage of ICOMH, IFOH. I shall say the words ICOMH, that's so easy for me for all these years, but it means International Committee on Occupational Health, Mental Health. That was the name in 1966, and about 1990 it was IFOH, the name was changed, a little bit more than International Forum of Organizational Health. And you can see all in the words from André in the book, how it was solved in these years to this day. I give you the floor. Pak even mijn water mee. Oh, ja.
Je zit voor het beeld, dus je kan niet...
Sorry. Ja, dat zit in het beeld. Sorry. Ik zit in het beeld, dus eventjes draaien. Ja, goed zo. Ik zag het beeld.
Thank you, Kees, for giving me the floor, and I'm very happy to be here with all of you to present the book, The Heritage of ICOMH IFO, Mental Health at Work, 1964-2005. And I give this presentation also on behalf of my co-author, Gerda Jekel, who, as Kees already mentioned, cannot be here today because of illness. And also, unfortunately, also our editor from Lucifer, the editor of the book, cannot be here also because of illness. Well, it's the time of the year, we will say. Okay. After a long process, the book can eventually be presented today. And you see its cover, the front page, and the backside of the book, with the pictures of the two of us, the authors, myself and Gerda, below, and a short description of the book. My presentation will take about 30 minutes, and what I intend to tell you, I've summarized here. Some words about the story of ICOMH, IFOH. The book project itself, the book, the contents of the book, its conclusions, the e-book. It's very special that we can accompany this book with an e-book, and the end, or a new start. How will the story go on after this presentation? Well, at first we have to bring honor to the founding father of ICOMH, Max Richard van Alphen de Veer, an occupational physician, director of the Philips Medische Dienst of Philips Gloeilampenfabrieken NV at Eindhoven, the Netherlands. He had a long life, 1901 till 2005. So if you count it, he has become 103 years old. Well, and he has been of great importance for the origin and the first period of ICOMH. Another picture of old guys, and I'm very happy that one of the guys on this picture is also present here. It is Jaap Douglas, who is the most left on the picture. Jaap, you recognize yourself about 40 years ago. We are happy to see you and to recognize you also. Well, this photo has been processed by Eddie de Waal, who is present here, and so Eddie said black and white is not everything. let's give them some color. And then the other question was, who is who? We need the names below the persons. Now, you can see, most left is Jaap Douglas from the Netherlands, then you see Rolf Czech from Austria, Gunnar Nerel from Sweden, in the middle, the only woman, Anne Fingret from United Kingdom, then Max van Alphen de Veer again, from Netherlands, Erland Mindus from Sweden, and Ricardo Edström from Sweden. The picture has been made in 1983 in Amsterdam, when ICOMH had its annual conference with the title Mental Health and the Economic Recession. Well, this is a very familiar logo for the old members. It was all on the papers and the leaflets announcing the conferences. Very familiar up to 1990, when the board decided, and the board and the annual meeting decided to change the name in IFOH. IFOH all over the world. In the book we have written what are the proceedings, the actions of the foundation. And here you see one of the places, one of the venues they met an annual conference in 1994, the Royal Holloway College in London. It's only one of them, but you can imagine that it has been a very good time. Then the book project itself, where what we close today, the intention to write a book, has started in 2016. First ideas in a discussion between Mary Manolias and Kees Helms. Couldn't we do something with the money left to keep the heritage of the ICOMH? Some years later I was invited. I am a full outsider. I had never had any connection or link with ICOMH. I had heard about it, but I never visited one of the conferences, so I was an outsider. But Kees inspired me to investigate what it was about. And so we started a project. And there was an archive of papers, and we have transferred that to the best place where archives can be kept, and that is at the Netherlands Center for Medical History at Urk, where we are now. In 2020, we invited Gerda Jekel, a very good old colleague of mine, to be involved into the project and to help us in the writing process. Gerda made an overview of the documents, and so in the meantime the COVID pandemic has started, so there was some delay in the start of the project, and we had needed some time to unfreeze the bank accounts of ICOMH. And I think this has been the merit of Kees and of Mary, that at the end the money was available to start with the project. The whole writing process has started in 2022. We started in January and we ended in December. The whole process of writing, reviewing, writing again, rewriting, re-reviewing, and so on. And at the end we have the presentation of the book and of the accompanying e-book. So at first some theory, and I think it's the merit of Gerda Jekel, my co-author, that she has worked out the theoretic basis of, say, occupational mental health and organizational health. What are these concepts? And in short, you can say that there was a shift in the 60s from industrial work to office work. Automation was starting, and we see that caused psychosocial problems. Work pressure was increasing, and the concept of adjustment disorder was described for the first time by Max Richard van Alphen de Veer. So, in larger companies, occupational mental health teams were formed consisting of doctors, psychologists, sociologists, and sometimes also managers to cope with these problems in organization. And we had the stage of occupational mental health. In Dutch, bedrijfsgezondheidszorg, maar dan vooral voor aandoeningen van psychische aard. It's the medical model. So doctors say if there is no disorder, if there is no disease, then somebody is healthy. And stressors in the workplace, loading factors, difficult situations, time pressure, role ambiguity, and whatever has been described in the medical and psychological literature, stressors in the workplace led to poor mental health, psychological complaints, and later also physical complaints, and even physical problems like high blood pressure or heart disease. So occupational mental health was aimed at identification and minimization of mental health hazards. The treatment was directed on individual employees. And there was emphasis, stress on the negative effects of work. That's, in short, the concept of occupational mental health. But in 1990, the foundation chose for another approach, the approach of organizational health, more directed on the organization as a whole and less on the individual employee. And now there was also a change in vision that you couldn't stress at work, of work on itself, consider not only as a negative factor, but also as a positive factor. Work as a source of happiness and growth. And there is an important condition of the persons, of the workers, about their sensitivity for work pressure. Resilience, we call it resilience. Resilience is needed to face the ever-changing work situation. But that the work is continually changing, we were accustomed to. We consider the organization as a system. We chose for the systemic approach, say management training. And the aim of the whole approach of organizational health was the employee well-being and together, on the same time, the organizational performance. And those two aims can conflict with each other. So that's the challenge of organizational health. So far, the theory. This was a quite difficult part of my presentation. Now it will be easier because I am going to tell you what is in the book and how is the constitution of this book. Well, the book we will present this afternoon tells the story of ICOMH. It's a narrative concept. So per year there is told what were the main events, what was the theme of the annual conference, who was in the board, and what was happening, were there other activities worthwhile to be mentioned. And the archive I just told about, and the archive is here at URC, the archive contained almost 250 important documents after the selection. Before the selection we had, say, more than 400 or 500 documents, but 250 were considered to be of historic value. Historic sources. In the book you can find also an evaluation, with another word, appraisal. Did ICOMH really meet its goals? And you find an inventory of the heritage. Some examples, some pearls in the book. You find a reference to the first, proceedings of the 1970 conference called Stress in Industry, an Exercise in Prevention. I think this is a beautiful title. It was held at a wonderful place, Windsor Castle, near London, where ICOMH convened in 1970. There are a lot of examples. I have made a small selection of pearls in the book, and you can find them directly, but you can also find them by the hyperlinks in the e-book. I will tell more about that later in my presentation. So here you see some examples of interesting titles from which we have the full text available in the book or in the references. We also see McKinsey, great influence, the 7S model, which gives a dichotomy, a separation between the human and the more technical part of the work situation. Very interesting model in those days, very popular also. Now nobody tells about this. Here we see other examples of very important and very relevant documents the book contains. We also see the name of Mebius Brandsma, 1991. Mebius made a presentation with the title, A Support Procedure for Bank Robbery Victims. In those days, an important topic for bank employees, and I think today it's still relevant. And after all this long list of scientific presentations and articles, at the end we find a poem of Day Williams, and Day was also a very active member of ICOMH. He wrote a poem with the name Listening with the Trolls, poem written as a tribute to France at the IFOH conference held at Soria Moria, Oslo, 30 September 2000. And it's an important day, 30 September 2000, because it was the last day of the last annual conference IFOH ever held. So it was really a historic moment. And you can retrieve this poem by the hyperlink in the e-book. Listening with the Trolls, we are drawn together as friends to the top of the mountain. Ladies and gentlemen, this is no science, but these are feelings from the heart, from a very concerned member of the IFOH. You can read the full poem. It's quite long, too long to read it now. Also in the book via the hyperlink. Conclusions. The IFOH had 4 main objectives, and they are written in the statutes. And the first objective was bringing together people interested in occupational mental health. Well, we as authors, after studying all the materials, all the documents, we think that this objective has largely been achieved as far as Northwestern Europe is concerned. In spite of old ambitions to spread the insights of IFOH all over the world, we must confess that at the end only 5 countries in Northwestern Europe have been involved up to the end. Netherlands, Belgium, United Kingdom, Sweden, and Norway. We go to the second objective, promoting mutual contact and giving information. What we think as authors is this objective has only partially been realized. Mutual contacts between members and interested persons have been numerous, but the way members were provided with information about professional and practical issues was not always adequate. We see repeated attempts to approach, to inform members, but they are not continuous. They are interrupted. We see newsletters come and we see newsletters disappear. I have to say those newsletters were very valuable for us as writers because we got a lot of information from them. And you can find them also via the hyperlinks in the e-book. And now we come to the third objective, the promoting research in occupational mental health. We think this is difficult to judge. And we think at the end that promoting of research was not really a priority of IFOH. And there is a fourth objective, advising and training for the benefit of occupational mental health. We think that IFOH undoubtedly influenced the practice of occupational mental health care in some large companies through its activities in the field of advising and training. What we see is an increasing participation of managers and personnel consultants in its annual conferences. And we may say that these managers and consultants really influenced the way of thinking of IFOH. And so it's very pity that this process has not been continued. We have the paper book and we have the e-book, the electronic book. The electronic book is a portable digital format, what we call PDF. Familiar to most of you, I think. All documents referred to in the book are being kept here in the archive of the Netherlands Center. And you can retrieve all documents at home at the screen of your personal computer. How to retrieve these documents? Well, very simple. Each document has a unique code in blue digits, characters. So go to the e-book, click upon the blue document code, and in a few seconds you have the document on your screen. So this is really, I think, important. So Max van Alphen de Veer, the founding father of ICOMH, wrote his thesis in 1955. The thesis was titled Success and Failure in Industry. And he was dealing with psychological complaints of Philips workers in the early 50s. And what he saw was that sickness absence was not going down, as many expected after the war, but it was rising. So he has an explanation for that. He went more in depth to examine the causes of this increase of sickness absence. You can read the full thesis of Max van Alphen de Veer if you use the e-book and go to the hyperlink. How to retrieve a document? Well, I'm now going to demonstrate how you do this. You are behind your personal computer screen. You see in chapter 2 a short list of documents. And after the reference you see a code in blue with characters and with numbers. Go to that code, click, wait a few seconds, and then you have the document. The document is on your screen. It's a review of the history written by Paul Verhagen, a Belgian colleague, who in 1995 at the annual conference in Brugge wrote what he remembered from the first years of ICOMH. And this has been a very valuable paper for us because it contained very many details. I will not go with you through the full document. It has 6 pages. It's only an example how to show how it works. Well, second example, the interview with Jaap Douglas, present here, founding father of ICOMH, which Kees and I have taken on July 7.
Dat zien ze buiten niet.
Okay.
Kijk, sorry.
A small technical intervention. Yeah. Yeah.
Even kijken hoor.
No stress.
No, I haven't.
Geloof ik.
We think it should be demonstrated anyway. So, yeah. It was not to be seen.
Kijken.
Proberen.
Oh, dat zo.
Take your time.
Als je het muis.
Well, it is on my screen, the document, but it is not on the... on the big one. Yeah, so you have to believe me that it works. Yeah. No hands. Ah, yeah, there is. Yes, there it is. Thank you. Thank you, Mark.
Laat ik me weer terug.
We need you when we are at home and like to retrieve the documents. Okay, this is so a paper of Paul Verhagen from Belgium, Leuven, about the first years of ICOMH, valuable for our book. I now close this document. So, is the mouse? Met de muis? Oh, well.
Doe hem terug. Onderaan.
Ah.
Ja.
And now I go to the second example, the interview with Jaap, 7th July. Yeah. And it's document in Dutch, because we have so many Dutch members. But you see, interview with Jaap at his home in Eelde on 7th July 2020, the start of our project. Okay.
Sluiten. Kruisje.
Hier? Nee.
Ja.
Ja? Good.
Naar beneden. Deze.
Ah, yeah, yeah. I learn continuously. An other important document is a personal letter from founding father Max van Alphen de Veer, written to John Wollaston in 1989.
Control indrukken. Control.
Control. Dear Dr. Wollaston, thank you very much for the kind invitation from the ICOMH to be present at the annual conference at Stirling University. However, I deeply regret that I can't celebrate our silver jubilee and to be your guest on this occasion. I'm 89 years old, and it is all too much for the old man. And so it continues. It's a very nice letter to read. You can see how involved Max van Alphen de Veer has remained until his very high age. So at the end he says, "Dear Dr. Wollaston, if you think it might have any sense to read this letter to our fellow members, please do so." It's a very modest man. "I end this letter with many thanks, with kind greetings and with my best wishes to you all. God bless you. Your affectionate Max van Alphen de Veer." And we are back in the presentation, and now we have to go to this, huh? Yes, thank you for your assistance, Mart. So, thank Mart, of course, but thank all. As an author, I have been involved very intensively in this project for 1 year, for the last year. At first, Gerda and I like to thank Kees as our project manager, who was always there and gave all support we needed. Of course, it was important that there was financial support, but Kees also maintained good contacts with old IFO members we needed. Mary Manolias, Jaap Douglas, Peter Koren, presidents. Mary and Jaap are present here. Peter Koren is not, but Peter Koren has collaborated, has co-worked with the book in writing a very personal preface. And this preface reflects some of his personal frustration, but also highlights some aspects of the whole history that we as authors had not described in detail enough. So I think it's worthwhile to read. We also like to thank Mebius, Brandsma and Tineke. Mebius as a member of the IFO board and as president of the IFO Bene, the Dutch branch of the Dutch department of IFOH. The reading group, the group of members that have read the concepts Gerda and I had written, and the other former IFOH members and board members. Herma Wiers, who had liked to be here very much today but cannot be here because of illness. She is former secretary of IFO Bene. Michel Schmeitz, our editor. Mart van Lieburg, director of the Netherlands Center for Medical History, and you have seen how indispensable he is. Every moment when I have a problem, I can ask Mart and he resolves the problem. Eddie de Waal, who has given good advices, and especially for the beautiful picture of the 7 old guys, and the processing and the names below the persons, very well. And my grandson, Casper Weel, who has scanned 209 documents for the digital archive. Also, thank you all very much. Now we have come to the end of my presentation. So, what we have to conclude is that IFOH is ending now this afternoon here at the former island of Urk. However, mental health at work remains a very big issue. Now with the book, most of ICOMH IFOH heritage will be kept. It will be kept here, but it is accessible all over the world for every interested professional or other interested person. We as oldies say now, it's the turn to the next generation. If somebody likes to go on, please stand up and do what you think that should be done. However, I think old soldiers never die. Thank you very much. Okay.
So, thank you very much, André. You did only not the best word for the book itself, and the content, but also to bring it up to the people here, and I hope also outside in the other countries. And now we go to the next step. We'd like to give the 3 ICOMH, IFOH presidents of the old time the first books. So, the pink rose, I don't know why, but I start with this moment. So, I need first Jaap Douglas, the co-founder, next to Van Over de Veer, in 1966, go to the notary in Eindhoven. I was there in the 90s, but you were there in the 60s, and then you present the foundation of occupational mental health. It's a long word, but it is. And can you, well, you can sit down, but I can come to you. Is that easier to do? Yes. Now I need the book. Sorry? Ah, daar staan ze, in de stapel.
Ja.
Thing. And so I want to give the book firstly to co-founder of this ICOMH, Jaap Douglas. Between the cover is the beautiful photo of 1983 on the conference Jaap has made in Amsterdam, and he found on that moment even the one who made this foundation. So on one of those photos is the founder.
Thank you together. This is wonderful to hear you saying all these things.
Thank you very much for your things. Next is Mary Manolias, next to Jaap Douglas. Yeah. I have to take a book. I don't do it every day, so after a year, after years, I can say.
Thank you so much. Now to say a few words.
Yes, then you have to come to this place. But first of all, you can do this in a minute. First of all, go to Mebius Brandsma. He is also the ICOMH president, and he did a lot of thinking and helping to make this project complete. And a book. Okay. And now I give Mary Manolias from London, she comes yesterday, to say anything, but also something about this presentation and the book.
I hope it makes a bit of sense. But I'm really glad, I'm very honoured to be here today, and the fact that I have been asked to, well, represent the British side, because we had a very lively group of the forum in Britain, and we've kept going informally ever since it broke up. But, and this I think it's a sad day, because it finally marks the end of what was a thriving and creative an information organisation. And once again, people are leaning towards these topical ideas, which unfortunately, I say we've finished with the organisation as it is, but I think there's a seed there now that other people can take the information and make it grow. And we've preserved for posterity ideas that are essential to the future well-being not only of the workplace but to people in general. And since this has been a long journey to get to this stage, I want to thank the people who've helped to get here, because it started over 20 years ago when we had our last conference. Well, in fact, it started before then, because I think we have to thank Mabius for that, because he had the persuasiveness to influence Rabobank to make a presentation of some money to us to put on a conference. I think Rabobank very forward-thinking for doing that. So I would first of all like to thank Mabius for having the money and having some left over from whatever you did with it. And then also to the director of the Rabobank, who had the foresight to be convinced that this was a good idea, and to thank Sylvie, who's representing the Rabobank today and is also very interested in these ideas and constantly trying to promote them in her own workplace. And then after that, where the problems really started, after the 2000 conference in Oslo, which was led by Peter Corrin, who unfortunately isn't here today. I don't know why, but Peter took over as president and was faced with a number of problems, but he fought long and hard against many obstacles to keep the forum going, but found it in the end quite impossible. And then to Case, because he took up the challenge of making sure something was done with the money. Our constitution stated very, very clearly that this money was donated by Rabobank, and if it was not spent for its original purpose, then it should be spent for some purpose which was in the interests or the ideas of IFOH on a project which would be approved by the Rabobank. And that seemed to be very difficult because we had a lot of internal quarrels in the way. As I say, Peter Corrin did his very best to keep things going. I was landed as guardian of the monies, which was not my choice, but I hung on to it. As I say, it's not my money, it's IFO's money, and hopefully we'll find something to do. And Case was the one who took up the cause and fought long and hard to get something off the ground. But it had taken about 20 years. In the meantime, some of our best members have died or retired, and a lot of the material that we would have collected has also been lost, which is very sad. But finally, we were able to set up this project because of Case's hard work with André, and so finally thanks to André and all his team and Gerda for writing the book. I'm sorry Gerda isn't here today, but for producing a truly excellent outcome, and the opportunity to preserve some of our best work for posterity. I think there will be more documents turning up, and I know that they can be added to the archive in due course if we do find more, and I very sincerely hope we do, and that the ideas at some stage will go forward. I think there's a movement now in society as a whole to concentrate on the well-being of people in general. And so my congratulations finally to André and Gerda for producing such an excellent outcome, and for our best hopes for the future. So thank you very much.
now, sorry. You have to come to the microphone here. I come to a microphone to you. Nee, I come to with the microphone. Yeah?
Oh, zo?
Good position.
Ja. Beste,
To the left. Oh, draai. Die kant op. Yes. Of je in televisie bent. Ah, daar is de camera. You see. Stop. Yeah.
Oh,
It's
dat.
okay.
nou. Ja? Dear friends, it's nice that you give me the opportunity to say a few words. On the first place, it's an extraordinary day today with the book, the book what we made. You have heard the history and the history of the book. That was a very big job, and I have my English is not so bad. I have a lot of respect for all the work who has done by André and Gerda and all the other friends. Thank you very much, and we hope that the book will have research for our meaning, for our thoughts, for the coming history of IFOH, and I will give you some one. We have in the Netherlands, is it usual that we give with Sinterklaas a little donation in the form of a letter, and we made four letters, Tineke and I, to give them as a sign of respect and thankness to Jaap. Ja, Tineke.
Zeg het
Nee, niet voor Jaap, voor André.
Nee, moet je niet zeggen.
Nee, voor André. De A.
Dat is André.
En voor Gerda. Was het Gerda?
Ja, dat weet ik niet.
De J.
André, voor Gerda.
Gerda.
Voor Kees.
En voor Kees.
En wie heb je hier nog meer?
En wie was er nog meer?
Ja, een M.
M.
Weet ik niet.
Mary natuurlijk.
Sorry.
Mary.
André.
The founders and the most.
Wacht even. Kees.
a letter of chocolate. A little sign. Yeah. Thank you very much for all the activities, and I will thank also the Rabobank for the ondersteuning. Wat is ondersteuning? Support, financial support en ook voor het meeleven, voor het, mental support. Thank you very much. The Rabobank is represented here today, this afternoon, in the person of Sylvie Meeuwsen. That's Sylvie.
Yeah.
Sylvie supported the Rabobank. Thank you very much, Sylvie.
Special speech from you.
I will stop. I wish you all the best, and thank you for your interest during this day for the book, and we will do our best, and it will be good with you all. And yeah.
All the best.
So that we have seen us after so many years, that we have seen and your wife, especially your wife. Thank you that you are here. Good journey back to home, and so it's better. Thank you very much. All the best.
It's time to go back to your seat. Okay, the bloemen. And now I give the word again to the floor to André, Weel. Ja, die moet even af, ja.
Oh, ik heb hem uitstaan. Ja.
Ja, tot later.
Ja, oké, ik uit.
Hij is uit. Ja.
De dokter heeft mij een nieuwe foto gegeven. Heel succes.
Andere patiënt misschien.
Ja.
Conclusie, hou je eigen beetje.
Well, my conclusion would be that old soldiers never die. Go on, thank you very much. Maybe yes. And for me, some concluding remarks about the availability of the book. As you understand, the book will be given a free copy to all former IFOH members, board members, and so on. Also those who cannot attend today, the colleagues in the Netherlands, but also in Norway and Sweden, and the UK, of course. Kees and I, we will care for it, that the book will be sent to their postal addresses, and that they will get the e-book too by email with the keyword needed to open the e-book. We had a limited issue. This first issue is 100 copies. If other people want to have the book, they can buy it for €35 per copy. For that amount, they will get the book and the e-book. So that's really a bargain, I think. How to order? Well, you can send an email to me, and preferably to the address info@elma.nu. So we hope to receive many recommendations, many orders, so that we have to print a second issue. As you know. Okay, I would like to thank all of you again for your attendance and very nice words, and also Mebius and Tineke for their very nice presents. The chocolate character. Thank you so much. So, well, Well, Kees, do you want to? I give the microphone back to you because you have the concluding remark.
Yes. And I'd like to ask Mary come next to me for a little special moment. Thanks for your speech, and also you came on a moment that it was some sadness. And it is because some people say maybe you can use this foundation for young people from the new generation. And I have to say no. This is the end of the foundation ICOMH, IFOH. And as Mary is the only one next to me in the papers from the notary to do that, we had already made the decision
to sign off
and give room to the Rabobank to say you do the right thing with the task of this foundation. I have the task here already spoken by André, bringing together those who are interested in occupational mental health, promoting investigation, studies and research in the sphere of occupational mental health, promoting contact between ICOMH, that is stopped now, and other international institutes in the sphere of mental health. And that is gone now, so it's a bit a sad thing, but on the other hand, new things will come by new people.
Yes.
This is the end with you.
That is the end, unfortunately, but it's not the end, it's a new beginning for anybody who would like to go in that direction.
A little bit younger than we together.
I think André has done, and all his team have done an excellent job on this. And I'm very glad that you were so interested in our work. So thank you for your interest and your continuing interest and help in this sphere. And we're very honoured to be able to have material archived in this wonderful museum.
Yes. And I can give you a little news. 2 days ago, I had, for a long time trying in Google and other things, contact with the family of Van Alphen de Veer, the founder. He died in, I don't know exactly the date, but he died already. But his family is very interesting about what happens here. And it was too short to make an invitation for this day, but we will bring the book for his wife and his, what was it, schoonzus, no, niece, children, someone, get it for the new generation. So 2 books will go to the family of Van Alphen de Veer. And here will you invitation giving for the get together with a little drink. Thank you very much.